Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And like I said in the previous video, we're doing 2 reviews this weekend. We actually binge watched both of the big streaming releases this weekend. That would be Obi-Wan on Disney Plus and Stranger Things on Netflix. And one of these shows is significantly better than the other.
Well, if you watch the video, you know it's Stranger Things.
It's Stranger Things 4. So we're going to do a review of Stranger Things 4. We've been watching Stranger Things since the beginning. This is our new family go-to show. Like it was.
Yeah, which is kind of disturbing because it's a bit graphic, but they all love it.
But it was for the longest time Doctor Who and then Avatar: The Last Airbender, and everybody fell off of Doctor Who.
I still like Avatar though.
Avatar, not Korra. Korra's
right,
born.
and then they're not going to probably like the live action version, which is going to be balls.
Yeah, I think it's going to be terrible. But Stranger Things, thank God we can still rely on this show to be good.
I was concerned because the media, well, here's the thing, the media was on this kick where, oh, it's not that good, it's not as good as we thought, it's not as good. But then they were playing up Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Stranger Things was actually very, very, very good. I liked it. People are like, you don't like anything. Love Stranger Things.
No, love this season, and I don't throw that around very casually, but I freaking love this season.
Yeah,
I think it's the best season since the first one.
Yeah, I was gonna say it gives the first one, the run for money. Second and third were in, but
filler.
This
Felt like filler.
definitely good.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about it. Again, there are going to be spoilers in this video, so be prepared if you haven't watched it yet. Warning. Anyway, before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 268,000 subs.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about pop culture. We talked about streaming. We've talked about Stranger Things before. We've talked about Netflix and all the problems they're having right now, and this is definitely a moneymaker for them. The stock is going back up. Of course, they also had the announcement they were getting rid of certain kinds of programming and certain kinds of employees.
Well, just some of that, not all.
Some of them, which is still statistically a very small portion of the people that work there. But Stranger Things is their biggest hit, and there was a lot of talk about how much money they've thrown at this show, and comparing it to Obi-Wan. You can see it just in the quality of the cinematography, the quality of the score, the acting. Everything about this feels like a movie, like
multiple movies.
I mean, that's the one thing that really caught me off guard with this season. Every episode is basically almost feature length. And now they're splitting the season, 7 episodes, and then I guess 2 more in July. The finale is in July. But the show is long. I mean, it really feels like it's 2 seasons smushed together into 1 season, but it never feels like it drags.
No, the first episode did. I think.
A little bit.
But after that, I would agree with you.
Yeah, so, and this is kind of the same setup with all the other seasons of Stranger Things. They introduce a bunch of new characters,
Yeah.
And that was the one complaint we had was we were talking to the kids. We're like, how many new characters do we need in this show?
Well, that was more your guys' complaint. For me, it made sense because as you go on in life, you meet more and more people.
Right.
So to me, it made sense.
And plus, some of the core group, frankly, I don't even think they need to be there anymore.
Yeah, you could totally take them out, and it wouldn't affect the plot at all.
Yeah, so we're kind of looking at this like they could kill these characters, and it wouldn't affect the show at all at this point. But some of the other characters that were sort of the C and D listers have actually come into their own this season, and I think are much better than they were last year. I'm going to take a moment
to say they better not effing kill Steve, because they kill Steve, Pinky Boo and I are going to protest.
I think a lot of people are going to be very angry if they kill Steve. Anyway, let's talk about just initial impressions. I want to bring this up first. The reason I have it frozen here in the Hellfire Club is a central part of the plot of this season is Dungeons and Dragons. That's not a spoiler.
Satanic Panic.
The Satanic Panic. That was a very real thing. I was actually playing D&D back in the 80s, 90s when all these hit pieces came out, kind of like against gamers. All these hit pieces came out against D&D players. And I got to tell you, they got it right. I mean, they took it to the extreme in this one.
They did take it to extreme.
But I think it's so ironic because a lot of people who jumped on the D&D bandwagon because of shows like Stranger Things and Critical Role are actually demonizing old school D&D players.
Right.
Currently. So it's like, we got it back in the 80s, 90s, and we're getting it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
The new breed of players.
Well, they even get that, like with Lucas being on the basketball team. He tries to hide that he knows them, or that he's friends with them, or that he's part of the Hellfire Club. He still wants to be part of it because he asked them if they could postpone the game or the final campaign. But and he does do the right thing and then ditch these asshats to go with his friends, putting himself in danger. But, he didn't want them to know he was part of it because he knew he'd be ostracized.
That literally happened to us. I think I've talked about
to you.
Yeah. Our group, back in middle school, we had one of our players was actually a big shot on the soccer team. And, he would kind of sneak over to the my friend's house on weekends and play D&D, but we weren't supposed to really talk about it too much in
You
school.
were supposed to act like you knew each other.
Yeah, I mean, we knew them, but like, don't talk about the nerd shit because that's, and we had some other kids like that too that were interested. They wanted to play, but they didn't want to acknowledge that they played. So that actually is very true. And the satanic panic angle that they went with in this one was very, very true. I mean, again, not to the extent, obviously.
They go all Gaston on it and kill the beast type thing.
Right. But I just think it's so funny. It's like, my God, the audience that Wizards of the Coast is pandering to right now, they're the bad guys. They're the bullies. They're the ones who are bullying the old school
fans. How dare you? You are full of it. You are the bully because you don't want to play the coffee shop campaign. How effing dare you? You're schistophobe.
So I was kind of like, yes, they're not afraid to get that in there.
Yeah, and they did. Because that's what, they're trying to try to keep it, relatively close to what actually happened back in the day. And some, not everything's accurate, but a lot of it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other big thing that I noticed in this season, obviously, is all the kids are way older. Mm-hmm. They're all like pushing 20, 21 now. And it becomes more and more obvious as the show goes on, because we're talking, it's been like 2 or 3 years since the last season.
Yeah, because of the pandemic.
And this one got pushed back. And I've seen the kid that plays Lucas, like I've seen him other places, and he's had like a freaking beard goatee or whatever. I'm like, how old is this kid? And you find out like Nancy in real life is like 27.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. He's almost 30. Shit, yeah, right.
Which I said, they were trying to figure out how old he was. I'm guessing 28 to 30, and he was 29. So I was like, told you. But yeah, it was really good. Definitely liked it. It definitely put it up there with the first season. What do you want to talk about with it?
I don't know what we can talk about without spoiling things.
We think there'd be some spoilers. We're trying to keep it, Well, we got some new characters, and we got the old characters, and it's really clever. I don't want to ruin the villain, but the twist. I mean, we saw it coming. I mean, our kids we all called different things that ended up being connected. So you can kind of see it coming, but it was I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah, it was clever, and we'll talk more about that later. Let's just say that this season connects more to the first season.
I think so.
It almost feels like, and we know we've all watched shows like this where it meanders. Like you get a really good, episode 1, episode 2, or whatever, first season, second season, and then you've got like maybe a season or two that they're just kind of wandering around in the desert or whatever, and then they kind of come back and refocus. And that's what it feels like happened here. Like, I kind of get the vibe that the Duffer Brothers had a basic story. I don't think they were prepared for a season 2 for Stranger Things. I think
they had like several seasons planned, though.
They had like an outline for it, but I think because Netflix, everything gets canceled after one season, right? So I think they were looking at like, okay, we'll be lucky if we get a second season, so let's tell a complete story. And you technically could look at Stranger Things 1 as being a complete... movie with kind of a downer ending, but they left the door open for more if there was more. Season 2 felt like filler. Like,
yeah, they did it with books too. They tell you just if you're going to pitch a book, make sure it has an ending in case you don't get more. Yeah. But if you do get more, great. If you don't, it feels like there's a conclusion. So they clearly knew they were getting several more seasons after 2, because 2 and 3, well, 2 more than 3 felt like,
Yeah, 2 felt like a filler season. It really did. And then they had that whole plot line with Eleven's sister. Not really sister, but
they But they kind of step over now.
They kind of just step over that because I felt like they were going to spin that off.
Everybody hated that. That was like the least popular episode was the episode because it was pointless and had nothing to do with anything.
It was like a backdoor pilot for a spinoff.
They retcon a lot of stuff. Like I guess the comic stuff's kind of
the comics are out the window. They do go okay. So I can tell you about that. They go more into the Rainbow Room and they go more into Eleven's past, and it actually does mesh up pretty well with what we've known from before, but then they have to kind of step over her sister. In the comics, because they had a comic series out that explained, had the adventures of all these kids and they all had different powers and stuff. That's all out the window. So, it's,
So you keep that in mind. Now, one thing I will say about this, when we talk about things, we talk about diversity done right. I think that is this show. There is a lot of diversity in the show, but the show doesn't make a big deal about it. It's like these characters happen to be these things, but that's not the main part of the characters.
I think Robin's a pretty good example.
Oh, yeah.
Of that. I mean, we have a character that's gay, but it's mentioned, but it's not like that's her defining
characteristic.
Trait.
Yeah.
In fact, last season, it came up at the very end of the show, like, oh, by the way, I like girls. And then, in the beginning of this season, we've got, her bantering with Steve, and it's just kind of like, they're swapping notes on, but it's not like a big, huge plot, but like you could take that aspect of the character away and the character's still a good character.
Right. Like Robin's all kinds of awesome. And by the way, she happens to like this other girl named, was it Vicky or something?
I think the band girl.
Yeah.
One time at band camp.
Yeah. Take that, and she's a fun, good character that happens to be those things, but that's not her defining characteristic. And they have a lot of different characters in this that aren't white. And and they don't make a big deal about it, because why would you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that got me too about previous seasons. I know there were people were mad that Lucas with the Ghostbusters costume thing, they called out, well, you're black, so of course you want to be Winston, not Venkman. He was like, well, why would you assume that? And the thing is that actually is a conversation that could happen in real life,
right?
That wasn't like, now let me lecture you on racism, boys. It wasn't like that.
They got the point across.
Yeah, like
but in a way that was relatable and funny, and you're like, well, that's a good question. Why would people just assume that? You know what I mean? And that's what I like about the show. It's a really good show, and it does diversity in a good way. Now, the one thing I'm going to bring up, and it's about Will. Okay, so now they're low key implying that Will has the hots for Mike.
Yeah.
That's the way it comes across to me, anyway.
Yeah, I think they are going to go there, but I think it's going to be done. I mean, at first, that's kind of like, oh, you're not going to, whatever. I think it's going to be done in a way, if the rest of the show is any indicator, if that happens, it's going to be done, I think, pretty tactfully and not like a freaking in your face.
In a realistic,
Like, this does happen. Like, you go to school or you've got friends and they turn out to be gay, and then you're like, oh, this is awkward because maybe you crushed on me, but I can't reciprocate, but can we still be friends, I mean, it does happen.
I'm just a little bit like with the whole Will thing. I have to tell you, I do feel like this whole thing is because Twitter had decided.
Yeah.
They made a big point last season of saying the reason Will wasn't interested in girls was because developmentally he's still stuck as being like a 12-year-old or a younger wanting to play games. And it was about him wanting to be like a kid, and he lost that and wanted to hang with his friends. It wasn't because he liked boys. And they mentioned to season 2, he danced with a girl at the dance, and they did mention the first season about what his dad had called him derogatory names, but they made sure it because he liked art and he liked Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that not sports. Well, I gotta tell you, that does not automatically make you gay. I can confirm, because Neon does both those things, and he is not gay. I'm 100% sure of this.
At least twice.
At least twice you weren't gay.
They did want me to play basketball in high school, though, but I didn't, because I just didn't want to.
Well, because you didn't like those people.
I don't like those people. No, but I was actually pretty good at basketball.
But I'm just like, the whole thing is because I think because Twitter had a fit, and they're like, oh, because they had decided, I remember they had made a big deal about it last season. Oh, he's gay because, he doesn't like girls. He doesn't like, they explained it in the show. And so now they're taking that and they're running with it because, Twitter. And they made it very low key, though. I mean, I will give them credit for this. They didn't make it a big deal, which is, it's like going on in the background, but it's not the main plot. And so even if that is the case, I at least will give that a pass, because I think it's kind of pandering. I think that they're going to do it in a way that makes sense and that isn't like, oh, here's the main focus of everything.
And this is
done right.
Yeah, and I want to focus on that too, because that was one thing, the biggest difference between Stranger Things and Star Wars, again, going back to Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, one was much better than the other.
And I think a lot of that comes down to this is a show, the creators are in control of the show, they care about the characters, you can tell they care about the characters. And they have an idea of where the characters are going to go.
Well, they're obviously older, so they look at portraying things in a way different than maybe some younger people would look at it.
Yeah. And you look at that, and so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, this is a vision. Like, these guys have a vision. They know where they want to go with this show, right? It doesn't feel like it's being decided by committee. You look at anything Disney Star Wars, and compared to George Lucas having a specific vision for Star Wars, it feels like everything's being done by committee.
It's boring.
It's boring. It's corporate product. Star Wars right now is...
I mean, Netflix is too, but I think that some people, there's still like a definite direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with Stranger Things, I think because the first season was such a big hit and it's consistently brought in eyeballs, I think Netflix... Yeah, Netflix is just like, just do your thing. Like, you guys got this, just do it.
And they're probably seeing Star Wars go down the shitter and being like, yeah.
Don't do that.
But, back to the show. It was really, really, really good. I don't know what we want to tell you about it.
But we'll get into spoiler territory.
Well, we already were in spoiler territory. We've been doing spoiler territory.
Well, we'll get into more spoiler territory. I would say, but let's grade it first, and then let's rip the Band-Aid off and tell people what's going on. So, what would you grade it?
Oh, an A.
Yeah, I'd easily give it an A. I was concerned with season 2. Season 3 I thought was better. Even though it relied a lot on body horror, but season 4, it brings
There's a lot of body horror here too.
Yeah,
it's not as prevalent though as 3.
No, there's more psychological horror, I think, in this one.
If you're looking at like Nightmare on Elm Street, that's clearly where they took the
literally.
They literally took the inspiration from that for this one.
Yes. So I would give this an A, and I don't give A's out very often for anything, but I mean I would even give like season 3, I'd give it a B. I'd give season 2 like a B- or a C.
Season 1 was another A.
It was an A plus.
So I'm just like, and people are like, you don't like anything. It's like, no, we do like things.
We do like it.
And the reason we're bringing up this is because 1, we're reviewing it and we really like it, and 2, it says diversity done right. This is a show that shows organic diversity. Everything we're talking about, take note. It's done very well with Stranger Things. Even the Wills thing, which I think doesn't make sense other than Twitter demanding it. It's still done right. So I can't hate on it too much because it's still done in a really good way.
Yeah. So, okay, let's rip the Band-Aid off here. We'll just a couple spoilers and then we'll wrap it up. So, yeah, this season definitely ties into the first season.
Yes.
Pop is back. We finally get backstory on what exactly went down at the laboratory.
Yeah, they had that 8-minute teaser they had done where you saw the first 8 minutes. It looked like Ella killed everyone and stuff like that. You get an explanation to that and what happened. It builds up. So they find a way to make it like she's going back because she gets her powers back.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, she's getting it back. She gets it back and then it goes away. She's working on it. Brenner he's an asshole, but he's not maybe as big an asshole as we thought, but he's still an asshole.
Yeah, and if he wasn't such there's a lot of blame here. If he wasn't such an asshole, none of this would have happened. And
bullying is a big tying into him being an asshole because he put the regulator on that one kid.
Yeah,
bullying is definitely a theme on this season.
Yeah, for sure. And we do see the other numbered kids, and there are a lot more of them than we thought because I think the one scene that says 17.
Yeah.
So 8 is out of the picture, obviously, because I almost feel like this is like a Star Wars moment. Like they were going to go in a totally different direction with the other kids, but now they're like, okay, we can't really. So let's just, okay, she's gone. One line, they're like, oh yeah, this is before 8 got taken away. Okay, anyway, or after 8 got taken away. But we do see number 1. And we get a backstory on how the whole program started. And, it's funny because I was like, this kid looks like a reject from like a Harry Potter movie. I'm like, oh shit, he was young Grindelwald.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. I was like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yes.
The villain is basically number 1. And this one, and spoilers, which you actually start to see it a mile away.
Yeah, you could figure it out by like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah, they're like they keep showing this creepy blonde-haired kid.
When they mentioned the family, the kid was in a coma. I'm like, oh, is it the kid? Well, I was right, and then Pinky Boo said it's number 1, and she was right, so we were both right.
Yeah,
we were both right.
It's but it is definitely a throwback now. Where it kind of is like, okay, this is kind of quasi unbelievable. I mean, for a show that features, monsters and stuff, as we, take Joyce to Russia to go save Hopper. This is like this mom from Indiana. But it kind of works. I mean, the show's got a ridiculous premise to begin with, but it's just good.
But we could take out. You could literally take out the whole Russia thing. You could literally take, which might come in time, unless it ties in later.
Yeah.
You could literally take out Will, Mike, and Jonathan, I mean, especially Will, Mike, and Jonathan. You could just totally take them out of the play completely, and and it doesn't change anything.
It was really weird. Like Mike and Will, who were the focus really of the first season, they really don't have much to do in this one. And Jonathan's worthless. I mean, his friend
he just turned into some loser.
Stoner loser. And I think they're actually trying to make Jonathan more unlikable. So if they put
I never liked Jonathan,
Nancy
so
and
it's
Steve
fine
together.
with me. They should have put Nancy and Steve together the whole time.
Yeah, he's just creepy. But like those characters who were central to the plot of the first season have been sidelined for other characters that are better. Like newer characters like Max and Robin and even Eddie, I think, outshine Mike
Eddie.
and Will.
Well, I was thinking about, Jonathan too, and since he looked like he was on drugs for the rest of the show, they just made the drugs part of the plot line, so it covers it up,
It's like this guy looks like he's stoned. Did he get busted for drugs?
I don't know.
Or something the actor played.
I don't know, but now it makes sense. I am worried they're gonna, your theory about Will though. I think you're afraid they're gonna kill Will. I hope they don't.
Okay, so yeah, I've got a theory. So Will has been painting. Will seems like he's very not very happy with Mike dating 11.
And it could just be, I miss my friend. But they had the footsie scene where the girl tried to tap his foot and he pulled his foot away. And
yeah, I think they're going to go there. And I think they're going to go there with him having a crush on Mike. What I'm afraid of, because they keep showing this painting, what I'm afraid of is they're going to kill Will off in the last couple episodes, because Will, frankly, at this point, he doesn't have a purpose. He was a MacGuffin in the first season. Second season, they sidelined him by having him get possessed. And then the third season, he was just kind of there. He doesn't really have a purpose. He was the kid that got lost.
Well, they better not kill Will. I'll be very upset.
But I'm like, are they going to kill Will and then they're going to find the painting and then Mike's going to realize. So then that's how they take care of the situation. Like, oh, it's going to be really awkward to have Mike and Will hanging out together if Will's got a crush on Mike and that kid. Oh, he's dead. So it doesn't really matter.
Well, that's not going to go over very well for a lot of reasons.
It's not going to go over very well if they do that. But I'm like, would they be ballsy enough to do that? Because they keep they keep showing this painting. I'm like, this is something that like, oh, all we have left of Will is this painting. Oh, look, he loved Mike. And
or is Mike going to be like, you're right, I love you too? Because they're making sure that Elle's mad at him because he won't say it and he won't tell her he loves her now, even though they're like children.
Don't think there's been any indication.
I don't know. There wasn't any indication before this episode either, because people were mad and demanding it on Twitter. But you really could take Mike, Jonathan, and Will out of it, and it wouldn't change much. Honestly, the whole Russia plot point, it's fun. Because I really love, what's the other guy? The guy that goes with him. What's his name?
Yuri.
Not.
Oh, Murray.
Murray.
Because it's Murray and Yuri.
I love Murray. So Murray makes it work.
Murray and Yuri, yeah.
Murray makes it work. But
so we keep adding, like I said, we keep adding characters to it. But
I'm starting to be like, who? Because I have too many.
But the problem, that it had before is that the episodes were like 45 minutes to an hour. Most of these episodes are like freaking hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half.
Yeah, the one was hour 40. Now, the body horror thing, it definitely is... it's something to watch. I mean, it's very... I can't watch it because it's too creepy to me.
But you can watch a show where they cut people's toes off in real life. But it's fake.
I know.
Fake, so.
And then there's animal stuff involved.
Yeah, there's animal
I don't like that. I don't like that. Thank you. I will pass on that any day of the week. But otherwise, I mean, I really do like this show, and this season is very good, and I can't wait to see more. And then there's gonna be a season 5 too, isn't there?
Yeah, so you can tell that they're building toward an ending, and we get some sort of answers. I mean, we get an idea of kind of where the Upside Down came from, or how this whole thing started, where the crack came from, where the gate came from. We kind of get a peek into that. I think there's a lot more to it.
They're going to explain it more, I'm sure.
Yeah, but at least we're starting to see like, okay, here's why there was just 11 and not these other kids. How or why did this program start? Where did the gate come from?
Where did the Upside Down come from?
Where did the Upside Down come from? And we finally get something of an answer. And I think there's a lot more to it, but it is actually starting to make sense. Whereas before it was kind of like, what is going on exactly? Like we don't.
Why is it only under Hawkins and everything else?
Yeah.
So there it is. It's actually good. We actually didn't spoil a whole lot. So go. Well, you spoiled who the main villain was, but go watch it if you haven't watched it already. It's going to be a major time sink though. I think it's like ends up being like 10 hours. Or something like that.
It took us 2 days to watch it.
Watched half and then half.
Yeah, half and half, and it was I never watched. Okay, so that's a good litmus test for me. I never watch that much TV. in one sitting. And I very seldom watch. So, like I know with myself, if I want to watch more, that's a pretty good indication the show's good.
For me, it's why would I watch it again?
Would I watch it again? And the answer is yeah, I would.
I would too.
I actually would. If I were going to rewatch Stranger Things, I think I'd probably even skip season 2. Just because it's so like.
Oh, I think the Mind Flayer is going to come into play later, though.
I think there's 2 big
Because they made sure they made a point of that. They said that
he's a general.
Yeah, that would be if he's the main boss, he's the general. So I think it is relevant.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to the Upside Down, but I think that basically number 1 is the reason that the gates probably open and the monsters come in. Things look like a twisted version of Hawkins and all of that, but there is another intelligence, I think, beyond. So I think the number 1 in this series is Vader, and then the Emperor's still the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. So
anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yep, go watch it.
Okay, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Now he's just tasty, delicious, rotten flesh meat, which I can consume. Don't read into it too much.
Just like our museum, the cafe's open and Brewster is eager to serve. I don't think this was in the show. Run. Oh, you got splatted. Oh, she was begging and you kicked her in the face.
I don't care.
Hey guys, Squid King here, and today we're in a...
Not girl boss at all. She is not a material girl.
She is not. Oh, it's Christmas time here in your mom. Nobody wants to join your mom.
What?
Like I can't even cook kid cuisine right. I would last about 2 minutes with Gordon Ramsay.
What? Where is he?
He's hiding. He's hiding from you.
He better.
Oh my God, you got the axe.
Walker, does this look like Steven Universe? Let me punch him. Well, I'm just here for the wax. Right where you belong.
Get in the dirt.
Well, that was a combination of events I probably shouldn't have put together. Anyways, let's open this bottle too.
Chica Pinata. Is that official?
Oh, no.
There's a bootleg.
Hello. Ooh, sorry.
Hey guys, it's Diamond Tool.
Let's make a farm.
Like and subscribe and buy my merch.
I mean, while you're here, you guys should like really like and subscribe and buy our merch, all of which we have.
That is true. You can't run them carrying trash. You can get away with 1 F-bomb per PG-13 movie.
I wish I'd known that sooner.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap this effer up.
Yes.